female CEO, stunned after seeing her janitor secretly give away half his salary to orphans. Those were the words echoing in her mind the moment she caught him slipping an envelope into a donation box before sunrise. A woman known for sharp decisions froze as the truth brushed past her like a warning she wasn't ready for. The janitor she barely noticed was hiding something far bigger than the building he cleaned. She didn't know where the money came from, why he did it, or what it would expose about her own world. But one thing was clear. This discovery was only the beginning. Before we start, tell us from which city are you watching from? And don't forget to drop your thoughts at the end. Enjoy the story. Rebecca Lane stepped out of the black town car the way everyone expected a top-tier executive to move. Fast, confident, and untouched by the noise of the city. The morning air was still cool, and the tall glass tower she ran reflected the early light in a way that made people slow down and stare. She didn't notice them. Her phone was already pressed to her ear, her voice clipped as she sorted through numbers, meetings, and decisions that shaped hundreds of jobs across the building. Inside the lobby, employees straightened their posture as she walked by. Some greeted her with bright, practiced smiles. Others lowered their eyes, unsure how to speak to a woman whose presence felt like another layer of authority on top of their already stressful day. Rebecca didn't try to intimidate anyone. It simply came with the territory she had spent years climbing toward. Her fitted navy suit, polished heels, and neatly tied hair all spoke the same language. Discipline, results, and zero room for mistakes. Not far behind her, the heavy glass door opened again. But this time, the reaction was different. Marcus Hayes pushed in a rolling mop bucket, water sloshing softly against the sides. His faded work shirt was tucked in with quiet care, though its collar had long lost its shape. A few employees shifted aside, not rudely, but with the kind of automatic distance people put between themselves and someone they assume has nothing in common with them. Rebecca barely glanced his way, but she noticed the small nod he gave the receptionist. The same nod he gave every morning, gentle and respectful. No one returned it with the same warmth. As she stepped into the elevator, she caught a faint reflection of Marcus pushing his cart down the hall, unnoticed by almost everyone in the building, except the people who needed his help the most. She didn't realize this morning would be the first crack in the wall between their worlds. Marcus finished wiping down the break room counters long before anyone else arrived. The building felt different at this hour, quiet enough for him to move without being watched or judged. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small envelope, edges worn from being handled too many times. Inside were neatly folded bills, the kind that took real effort to set aside when every dollar mattered. He slipped out the side door and crossed the short alley to a small community center that most employees didn't even know existed. A volunteer, unlocking the front, greeted him softly, recognizing him from his early visits. Marcus handed her the envelope without a word. She opened it, eyes widening. "This is too much again," she whispered. Marcus shook his head. "Kids need shoes, and the new girl needs her asthma meds. It's fine." It wasn't fine. It was half his paycheck. But he didn't mention that. He walked to the back room, where a few children, dropped off early by struggling parents, were setting up crayons. One little girl ran to him, hugging his leg with a familiarity that told a story he never bragged about. Marcus crouched, fixing her loose shoelace with slow, careful fingers. Then he left quietly, unnoticed by the world he worked so hard to keep running. Rebecca was hurrying through the hallway, skimming a stack of reports, when her heel slid on something slick. She stumbled, grabbing the wall just as a small wave of soapy water spread under her shoe. Marcus appeared from behind a corner, eyes wide. "Sorry, ma'am, floor's still wet. I put the sign up. It must have walked away on its own." She looked down. The yellow caution sign was tipped over, leaning against a potted plant like it had decided to take a break. Despite herself, Rebecca let out a short, surprised laugh. "I guess it needed coffee." Marcus grinned, honestly. Same. He bent to pick it up, and she noticed the careful way he wiped off the base before setting it upright. Like everything he touched deserved respect. When she tried to step around the wet spot, her heel slipped again. Marcus instinctively reached out and steadied her arm. "Easy. Floors fight back on Mondays," he said. Rebecca shook her head, amused by his calm. "Noted. I'll add them to my list of workplace hazards." He gave a small chuckle, and for a moment, they stood there, not CEO and janitor, just two people sharing an unexpected complication in a long day. "Thank you," she said quietly. Marcus just nodded, pushing his mop forward with a soft, reassuring sweep. Marcus finished the rest of his shift quietly, but when the sun dipped low and the building emptied out, he didn't head straight home. Instead, he took a long walk toward a neighborhood most people from the office never visited. The sidewalk cracked beneath his boots, and street lamps flickered against the aging row of brick buildings. He paused outside a small apartment complex, hesitating the way a man does when he's about to face a truth he never shares. Inside his unit, the space was clean but worn. A frayed couch, a second-hand table, and a wall covered with drawings made by children. Bright suns, stick figures, crooked hearts. On the table sat a frame, holding a picture of a younger Marcus with a woman whose smile was soft and tired. She held a baby girl in her arms. The back of the frame showed fingerprints of dried glue from being repaired too many times. He touched the photo gently. His wife had died 7 years earlier. Heart condition. One surgery too many. And with her gone, Marcus found himself holding a newborn daughter while barely earning enough to keep the lights on. He worked nights, weekends, double shifts. But by the time Emma turned 2, the medical bills swallowed everything he brought home. He couldn't keep up. He had to make the most painful choice a parent could make. Ask the local orphan home for temporary care until he paid off enough debt to stabilize. Temporary turned into years. But he never stopped fighting for her. He gave half his paycheck, not only for the other children there, but for the daughter he visited every week. The little girl who didn't yet understand why her father couldn't bring her home. Rebecca didn't know any of this. No one at the company did. But the audience now understood the weight he carried in silence, and how fragile the world he was protecting truly was. Rebecca found herself crossing paths with Marcus more than usual over the next few days. It wasn't planned. At least that's what she told herself. But every time she paused in the hallway or lingered near the break room, he seemed to be there, doing something quietly competent. One afternoon, she spotted him struggling with a stubborn supply closet hinge. "It squeaks every time someone walks by," he muttered. She crouched beside him. "May I?" Marcus raised an eyebrow, but handed her the screwdriver. She tightened the screws, only to strip one completely. He tried not to laugh, and failed. "Okay," she sighed, handing it back. "Teach me." Over the next few minutes, he walked her through the basics. She listened closely, surprised by how patient he was. When the hinge finally closed without a noise, she lifted her hands in triumph. "Hear that?" Silence. "You're welcome." He shook his head. "I'll rate that a solid B-." Later that week, she returned the favor by showing him how to organize a supply request spreadsheet. He stared at the screen like it was written in another language. She leaned in, guiding his hand on the mouse, Then he joked, "So this is what real power feels like." They shared a laugh, easy, unforced, the kind that softened edges. And without meaning to, they began learning each other in small, simple ways neither had expected. Rebecca stayed late that Friday, the building strangely still. Most employees had rushed out for the weekend, but she lingered over reports she wasn't really reading. Her mind kept drifting, annoyingly, toward the quiet man who always worked long after others stopped noticing him. Around 9, she heard the soft rattle of a cleaning cart. Marcus turned the corner, surprised to see her, still there. "You don't usually work this late," he said gently. "Couldn't focus," she admitted. Thought staying busy might help. He nodded like he understood something she hadn't said out loud. Sometimes busy just hides the noise, doesn't remove it. She looked at him, taken aback by how easily he read her. "Yeah," she murmured, "exactly that." For a moment, neither moved. The hum of the building was the only thing between them. Marcus leaned his mop against the wall and walked closer, careful but unafraid. "You look like someone who carries more than she lets people see." The words settled in her chest, unsettling but strangely comforting. She exhaled. "Maybe I do. Maybe that's the job." He studied her face, and she could tell he was choosing his next words with care. "Doesn't mean you have to carry it alone." Rebecca froze. Something in her tightened, then loosened all at once. She wasn't used to people offering help without wanting something. She definitely wasn't used to someone looking at her like she was more than a title. She dropped her gaze. "Marcus, why do you always seem to notice things others miss?" He hesitated. "Maybe because I've spent a long time being the one people look past." Their eyes met, steady, warm, unguarded. The air between them felt different now, charged but quiet. For a breath, it seemed like one more step, one more word, might break open everything they'd been avoiding. But she pulled back first, not out of rejection, out of fear of wanting more than she should. He nodded, as if he understood without being told. "Good night, Rebecca," he said softly. She whispered it back, already knowing something in her had shifted, even if neither dared name it yet. The following Monday arrived with a sharper edge than usual. Rebecca stepped out of the elevator and immediately sensed the tension. Whispers, sideways glances, tight smiles that didn't reach anyone's eyes. Something was off. She found out why soon enough. Laura Finch, one of the company's ambitious executives, stood near the break room with her tablet held like a trophy. "Rebecca," she said, with a sweet but poisonous tone, "you might want to see this." Before Rebecca could answer, Laura turned the screen toward a small group of employees. A photo filled the display, Marcus outside the community center, handing over an envelope to a volunteer. The angle made it look suspicious, like a secretive exchange. Words had been added across the top. "Is this where our janitorial budget goes?" A few employees snickered. Others looked uncomfortable, but said nothing. Rebecca's jaw tightened. "Where did you get that?" "Someone sent it to me," Laura replied casually. "Thought you should know your staff is reallocating funds." Her voice carried just enough volume to reach everyone nearby. Marcus walked in at that moment, pushing his cart. He froze when he saw the photo, his face drained of color. For a moment he looked like a man who'd been shoved back into a nightmare he thought he'd escaped. Laura smirked. "Care to explain, Marcus?" He opened his mouth, but no words came. He wasn't ashamed of giving. He was terrified of how this would affect the kids, his daughter, the delicate arrangements he'd built around his fragile life. Rebecca stepped forward. Instinctively, she wanted to defend him, but every eye in the room was waiting for her reaction. One misstep, and rumors about favoritism, financial misconduct, or incompetence could explode. Marcus met her eyes, searching for something: trust, protection, anything. But under the pressure of judgment, Rebecca hesitated, and that hesitation cut deeper than any accusation. Marcus barely slept that night. The gossip had spread fast, twisting his quiet generosity into something suspicious. He knew the community center depended on his help, and worse, Emma's care did too. If the company began investigating him, everything could unravel. So, he made a decision he didn't want Rebecca to know about. Just before dawn, he walked to the community center with another envelope, this one much thicker than usual. Inside was nearly all of his remaining savings, money meant for emergencies, money he couldn't replace anytime soon. He pressed it into the volunteer's hands. "Use this for the kids," he said. "If anything happens at my job, they shouldn't feel it." "Marcus, this is too much," she whispered, shaken. He forced a smile. "They need it more than I do." Then he left quickly, before she could argue, before he could change his mind. Meanwhile, across town, Rebecca sat in her office, earlier than she'd ever arrived, staring at the photo Laura had circulated. She didn't know that Marcus had already taken a desperate step to shield the children, and indirectly, her reputation. All she knew was that something about the whole situation felt wrong, and she needed answers she wasn't prepared to face. The next day, an emergency meeting was called, one Rebecca hadn't initiated. When she stepped into the conference room, she found the board, Laura, and Marcus already there. The tension was tight enough to choke on. Laura opened a folder and slid a stack of papers forward. "Since there are concerns about staff integrity, I gathered more information. For transparency." Rebecca's stomach tightened. She hadn't asked her to do this. She wasn't sure she wanted to know what Laura had dug up. Laura clicked a button on her tablet. "These are financial records. Private ones." Marcus's eyes snapped up, horrified. The room fell silent as Laura projected a list of monthly withdrawals. Half his paycheck, delivered to the same community center, every single month for years. Notes from the orphan home appeared next. Receipts for school supplies, medical treatment, emergency meals. Then a single photo appeared, Emma's small face, smiling shyly, her hand in Marcus's. The room erupted in confused murmurs. Rebecca felt her chest cave in. "You have a daughter there?" she whispered. Marcus swallowed hard. "I never wanted this public." Laura folded her arms. "He's been hiding a dependent, funneling money, using company time too." "That's enough," Rebecca snapped, the sharpness in her voice startling everyone. Marcus stepped forward, voice trembling. "I wasn't stealing. I was trying to bring her home. I needed the job. I couldn't risk losing it. And I didn't want pity from anyone." Rebecca stared at him, feeling the weight of every moment she'd misjudged him, every second she'd hesitated when he needed her to speak. The betrayal she felt earlier turned inward now. She wasn't betrayed by him. She had betrayed him with her silence. Marcus looked at her with a pain deeper than anger. "I thought maybe you saw me differently." She opened her mouth, but no reassurance came out. And that silence broke something neither of them could fix in that moment. Rebecca didn't wait for the meeting to end. She walked out before anyone could speak to her, before Marcus could look at her again. Her heels echoed down the hall, each step sharper than the last, until she pushed into her office and shut the door behind her. The moment the latch clicked, her strength gave out. She sank into her chair, pressing her palms against her eyes as the weight of everything she'd seen crashed into her. She had judged him without knowing. She had stood silent when he needed someone to stand beside him. And worst of all, she realized she had cared, far more than she ever meant to. A soft knock interrupted her spiraling thoughts. Walter Price, the building's longtime maintenance manager, and someone she rarely saw unless something was broken, stepped inside. He closed the door gently. "Heard a storm blew through that conference room," he said quietly. Rebecca tried to straighten herself, but her voice cracked. "I failed him, Walter. He trusted no one, and I proved he was right not to." Walter didn't rush to answer. He eased himself into the chair across from her, folding his weathered hands. "You didn't fail him on purpose. You were scared of choosing wrong. That's something most people won't admit." She shook her head. He was doing everything he could for those kids, for his daughter. And I hesitated. I let him stand there alone. Walter studied her with the patience of someone who had seen more than he spoke about. "You know, people who give quietly don't expect applause, but they do need someone who sees them. Really sees them. You do now." Rebecca swallowed hard. "But what if it's too late?" "Too late is when you stop trying," Walter said. "You're not done, and neither is he." His words settled into her like a slow-burning truth, painful but steady. She didn't know exactly what she would say to Marcus or how she could make up for the damage already done. But for the first time in hours, she stood, because doing nothing had already cost too much. Rebecca found Marcus in the service hallway, behind the loading dock, the one place he always retreated to when he needed air. He was sitting on an overturned crate, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor like the weight of his entire life had settled there. She approached slowly. "Marcus, can we talk?" He didn't look up. "You don't owe me anything, Rebecca." "I know," she said, "but I owe you honesty." Silence stretched between them. She moved closer and sat a few feet away, giving him room while refusing to walk away again. "The meeting today, I should have stopped it sooner. I should have defended you." Marcus let out a broken laugh. "Defend me? Against what? The truth? I've been hiding my daughter for years. I've been sneaking out before sunrise to give money I barely have. You don't need to fix my choices." She shook her head. "You weren't hiding something wrong. You were protecting something precious. And I didn't stand with you when it mattered." His jaw clenched. "It wasn't your job." "No," she said softly. "It wasn't. It was my choice, and I chose wrong." Marcus finally looked at her, eyes tired and hurt. "Do you know what I thought when you hesitated? I thought maybe I was stupid for believing we understood each other. Even a little." Rebecca felt that like a cut. "You weren't wrong to believe that. I do understand you, more than I expected, more than I wanted to admit." He stared at her, searching for the part of her that had been missing in the conference room. "Then why didn't you say something?" "Because I was afraid," she whispered. "Afraid of crossing lines, afraid of judgment, afraid of caring too much about someone I had no right to care for." That made him blink. The anger softened, replaced by something quieter. "Rebecca, I never wanted you to fight my battles," he said. "I just didn't want to face them knowing you'd stepped away." She nodded, eyes stinging. "I won't step away again." Marcus breathed in slowly, the tension easing just enough to let hope slip through. "Then, maybe," he murmured, "we can start from the truth this time." For the first time since the meeting, they sat side by side, not perfect, not healed, but finally honest. Rebecca didn't try to fix everything in one day. She took the slower, quieter road, one that required her to earn back trust, not demand it. The morning after their conversation, she met with the board herself. No assistance, no deflection. She explained the truth about Marcus's donations, clarified that his actions were personal and honorable, and firmly shut down the narrative Laura had tried to build. Her words weren't dramatic. They were steady, factual, and protective in a way she wished she had been earlier. Outside the boardroom, she found Marcus repairing a broken handrail near the stairwell. She didn't interrupt. She simply grabbed a second wrench from his toolbox and knelt on the other side, working with him wordlessly. They tightened bolts in a synchronized rhythm, the quiet effort saying more than apologies could. Later that week, Rebecca visited the community center on her own. She walked through the modest rooms, meeting volunteers and seeing the children Marcus supported. When she met Emma, she didn't reveal who she was. She just listened to the little girl talk about her drawings and the mystery lunchbox Marcus left for her every Friday. The visit changed Rebecca more deeply than she expected. She saw not pity, but resilience, not charity, but need, and a father doing everything he could. Without telling Marcus, she worked with Walter to organize a small fundraising event for the center. Nothing flashy, just honest help. Marcus discovered the flyers while mopping the lobby. He stopped, wiping his hands on his pants, reading her careful handwriting at the bottom. For the kids who deserve more. When their eyes met later, he didn't say anything. Not at first. But the gratitude was unmistakable. Over the next 2 weeks, the tension between them softened into something steadier. Mutual respect, shared laughter, small moments of partnership. No grand gestures, just two people choosing, day by day, to rebuild what had almost been lost. And slowly, the space between them stopped feeling like a divide and started feeling like a path forward. The fundraiser arrived on a bright Saturday morning. Nothing extravagant, just folding tables, local families, and volunteers arranged across the community center lawn. Rebecca moved quietly through the crowd, greeting people, checking supplies, carrying boxes without expecting anyone to notice she was the CEO of a major company. For once, she wasn't in charge of everything. She was simply there to help. Marcus stood near the entrance, watching the scene with disbelief. He had expected a small turnout, maybe a handful of kind neighbors, but the yard was full, buzzing with energy, children laughing as they ran between booths, volunteers sorting donated clothes and school supplies. The center director approached him and said, "Your company really showed up for these kids." He turned to look for Rebecca. She was arranging books on a donation table, sleeves rolled up, hair pulled back, completely unaware that he was watching her with a different kind of awe than before. She wasn't doing this for recognition. She wasn't doing it to fix her reputation. She was doing it because she cared. He walked over slowly. "You did all this?" he asked. She shook her head. "We did this. You inspired it." Emma spotted Marcus from across the lawn and ran to him, her small hand gripping his tightly. Rebecca watched with a soft smile. The love in that child's eyes was unmistakable. "After today," Rebecca said gently, "the center director wants to discuss transitioning Emma back home with you. More support, more stability. You won't have to fight alone anymore." Marcus blinked hard, swallowing emotion. I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," she replied. "Just let yourself breathe." He reached for her hand, hesitant at first, then certain when she didn't pull away. Their fingers intertwined naturally, like something that had been waiting to happen. As the sun dipped lower, families gathered for a final group photo, children shouting and laughing. Marcus, Emma, and Rebecca stood together among them. No barriers, no titles, no fear. Just 3 lives stitched back together by kindness, forgiveness, and a kind of love that had grown slowly and finally found its moment. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was real. And it was theirs. Thank you for listening to this story. If it touched you, share your thoughts in the comments and let us know your favorite moment. Don't forget to subscribe to Echoes of Hope for more heartfelt stories. Your support helps us keep these voices alive. Until next time, take care.